What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. More 500 Bushwhacker action for you today. Today we're going to hit some gel blocks. A lot of you have wanted to see this, and here's the day. This is going to be pretty rough on the blocks, but I think it's going to be totally worth it. This isn't going to be like our typical gel test. We're not going to go through accuracy and all that right now. We're just going to try to send one round through the chronograph, 15 feet off the gel blocks. We have 3 gel blocks lined up. We're going to see what kind of penetration we get. We're going to see what kind of devastation we get. We're going to try to do 3 different loads today. We have a lot of gel block, but this thing's probably going to cream a lot of gel block, so we'll see how far we get. My setup is using 10% clear ballistics gel. I use 20-inch shooter's block, so that's a 20, 40, 60-inch total of gel. We got a couple clear ones here in front, and then we get to basically what I call a catcher block in back. I don't know how far we're going to go, but I'm assuming this solid copper right here is probably going to travel pretty darn far. The leads could deform pretty good, but we're going to have to see. All right, the lighting conditions are always screwed up here, so hopefully we get a reading. But the important thing is, what does it do to the gel? So 15 feet off that gel, this is the 310 grain wide flat nose gas check bullet. This thing is a beast. When we shot this in our first shots video of this Bushwhacker, this was one of the more manageable loads. I actually really enjoy this one. You're going to see the gases come out of the break, and hopefully it rocks the gel. We definitely had an error on the chronograph. That gel block took a dive. Let's go see what happened. All right, so we had some real good destruction down here. We busted apart our gel contraption. We did have an error. So that's some pretty good heat hitting that thing right there. Our gel block, the first one, hit the ground, and it did not make it into the second block. So let's see what this thing did. So we've attempted to reconstruct what used to be. So there's a huge hole right there in the center. And as we come around here, we do see a great entrance wound. I just watched the slow motion footage, and that thing just picked that block up, twisted it all about and threw it. And there you go. We came down to about 16 inches in this gel block. And then you can see the projectile is totally smushed flat. We'll get it out of there and take a look at it in a second. But for now, I just want to show you this wound channel. It's pretty amazing that we get comparable wound channels to some very common type of things that we've already shot through here, like 308 rifle and some 44 Magnum type of things. They make the same kind of a permanent wound cavity. It's that temporary stretch and then that huge energy dump that you see throw this block all over the place. That's where the power transfer happens. So the bullet did not over penetrate. That was the 310 grain. Let's move on up. All right, now we're going to move up to the 400 grain solid copper dangerous game load. This is probably what you would want to take with you if you're hunting something. The bullet's not going to come apart. It's going to go straight through whatever it hit. I don't know how good it's going to do on these gel blocks, but I'm thinking it's probably going to do a lot better than that lead that kind of smushed and slowed itself down. I'm thinking we're at least going to get into the second gel block, maybe the third. So I just want to show you that it is pretty easy to extract these cases as long as you keep the cylinders oiled. They pop right out of there. I'll put one in the next cylinder because it is oiled. So take your bets now. How far is this thing going to travel? Ooh, I see smoke coming out of there. $21.35 on the chronograph. All right, $21.35. We'll put the foot-pounds energy up there for you. And take a look at this. This is bonkers. So here's our entrance. And then, wowzers. So we traveled through the first 20 inches of block. We go through the next 20 inches of block. We go through the next 20 inches of block. And sorry, I lost my audio, so I'm recording this as I'm editing. But basically, that old bullet right there, that's from a previous test, a 10mm test. But that Bushwhacker round went straight through all three of these blocks, 60 inches of gel block, and it stuck into that board right back there, the 2x10 that's part of the back of our backstop right there. But this permanent wound cavity is pretty impressive. You can see where there was obviously a lot of stuff going on here. Science-y stuff. You can see just the heat generated, the little mini explosion as it goes from block to block, the fire in there. That is a terrible kinetic impact. It still goes into here. Solid copper tends to do that. I think it just generates a ton of heat as it travels through these things. You can see it keep going all the way through here. There's more of it. I mean, this is severely impressive. One more time, just from the top, so you get a good look at it. Nuts. This thing would absolutely take care of anything on planet Earth, including dinosaurs. That was super impressive. That's going to be really hard to top. We're going to go to the 620 grain solid lead projectile next. That's going to work totally different. I have a feeling that that's going to pick up this first block and just throw it all the way back or something like that, blow it up, whatever. I don't think it's going to get nearly as deep. It's going to be another lead bullet, so it's going to deform a little bit. But that solid copper, man, that just absolute straight trajectory through these blocks, that's super impressive. It barely changed at all. From where I hit the entrance of the block to where it exited, absolutely almost no deviation in trajectory. And that's what you want when you're shooting at animals that have big, heavy bones and things like that. And skin, you want a bullet that's just going to be able to keep a straight flight path all the way through. So it hits the things that you analyzed on your shot. You wanted to hit through things. You didn't want it to go in and then deviate. So that bullet completely did its job. We're just going to step back a little bit and let you enjoy this view one more time. This is a beautiful wound channel. I mean, this is the most impressive gel test we've had so far to date, I think. Thank you, Bushwhacker. And upon extraction of that cartridge, you can see some of the gas blowback. This one was a little sticky to pull out, but it is oiled, so you can see the oil on there along with the carbon. So just so you know, that's why you keep them oiled. If they are a little sticky to come out, if you have this gun, don't jam on this rod, like don't just rip on it real quick. If they're having a hard time coming out, just kind of tap on them a little bit. Get it lined up properly and kind of tap, 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 tap. If you have to, kind of set it so that you're holding the cylinder straight. You get your knuckle and just kind of tap, 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 tap. Give it light little taps. Don't jam on that ejector rod really hard. They'll come out of there. Now here we go with a 620 grainer. This is going to be a beast. My kneeling position that I'm at when I shoot through this gel is not the best, so this thing's probably going to rock me back pretty good. Keep in mind, I'm not standing up shooting from a proper stance. I'll have a good grip and everything like that, but my stance is going to suck because I'm going to be literally kneeling. So I'm going to take a swig of San Pellegrino here, try to get my courage up, and we're going to do this. That should work. Let's do it. All right, here we go from a kneeling position, 620 grains. Chronograph still alive, 1753. That felt fun. Let's see if we kept it in the gel block. All right, 1753. We moved things around again. There is some entrance. Let me come from the top to start out this time. So pretty much the entirety of this gel block is a big giant permanent wound cavity. The gas check right there, it lost itself at about, if I straighten things up, at roughly the 15-inch mark. The bullet continued to go through into the second block, and we lost it out of the side of the block at about 36 inches. Let me go to the other side and show you. First, let me come down here and just let me show you the side wound path. You can't see a whole lot. You see it up there, pretty straight line, but then you see it floating there towards the top. I shot a little high. I almost flinched twice before I pulled the trigger, but I knew what was happening, so my brain was trying to fight it. So we come around here. Let me pull back some cardboard, and the bullet path came all the way down here, like I said, and when it left, we can see it laying right there. So I don't have to dig this one out. It exited the block right about here and just skimmed the boards. So pretty gnarly how that thing just wasted itself in there. It didn't totally shatter apart. It's not a hollow point, but it sure did smush and mush. We'll get the other ones pulled out too. So that 400 grain solid copper actually did bury itself into that wood. It's right in between these two layers. So basically it made it through 60 inches of gel block and then through a 2x8 and then it stopped. So I can't recover that one too easily, but I did recover the lead ones. The lead ones, you see the big one, the 620 grain, this thing is still a big old chunk of lead. There's its gas check that it lost. So that would have been set right on the back of it to keep it from burning off lead and all that. That's what a gas check bullet is. So it totally lost its gas check. This is the 300 grainer, 310 grainer, something like that. And you see this thing really smushed itself out. So there's the difference in mass between these two bullets. This, like I said, is nothing. So I do have to call it, that was the most impressive gel test that I've done. I hope you enjoyed it too. We got many more videos coming with this Bushwhacker. We're gonna do some comparisons with a 500 Magnum. We're gonna actually shoot 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum through this along with 500 Special. We'll try to get some chronograph readings. But for chronograph itself, if you check out the YouTube page for TII Armory, they have really good chronograph data. They've been accumulating a lot. They have it a lot in short form and good numbers. You can see what they've been doing with all different kinds of rounds and different barrel lengths. So I hope you enjoyed this gel test. I hope you enjoy this kind of content. Until we see you next time, stay safe, have fun, and keep shooting. Of course, the Bushwhacker.